Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And I'm going to try my hand at changing this speedometer on my Arcticat. What I've got here is a 2008 Arcticat 650 prowler. And these are quite possibly the dumbest speedometer system I've ever seen. And gauge system. It's half digital. I'm not really looking for that digital shit. I want everything to work on its own and not have to hit a button to go to RPMs. You know, you got to hit a combination of buttons just to get to the RPM so you can see what your RPMs are. So I'm not going to mess with this thing. So what I did is I went on AliExpress and I got, this one is the speedometer. It's a GPS speedometer, so this will go up here on the windshield, and I won't have to hook up no wires to a rotor with a magnet spinning around the sensor. So we skip that step. So here is the speedometer and tach. So the tach's down here on the bottom, speedometer's at the top. You got your wires, and you got your antenna to hook up your GPS antenna. And this is the type you got a big screw nut on it. And I like these style. I wish every one of them was made like this. I hate them ones that's got the two brackets that always spread apart or bend. This one here, it puts even pressure all the way around the whole rim of this. And that's going to be the first gauge. Alright. And this came in a set. I better make sure I put that in there with the directions it's supposed to be with. And then we've got this gauge. And it's the same size as that one. However, this one's got volts, fuel, temperature, and oil pressure. Now that one I don't know if I'm going to be able to get. There has to be a port on the motor in order for me to use that. If I can't, then I guess that gauge won't get to work. The fuel gauge I'm hoping is correct. It says that this is adjustable from 0 to 190 ohms up to 240 by 33 ohms, full and empty. So I don't know what that means. I don't see no adjustments anywhere. So I don't know if it has to be done. It said in the thing that it was adjustable, but that one could cause us a problem simply because I don't know what this tank sensor is. I'm hoping that standard is 240 by 33 ohms. If it is, then this one will work. So I don't know if it adjusts itself, because there ain't no buttons for adjustments nowhere. No screws, no nothing. So I don't know how it can be adjustable. I think that's just a sell gimmick to get you to buy it. The temperature sensor we should be able to do, because there is a temperature sensor on this motor, so all I got to do is tie into that. Volts, I'm going to go straight to the battery, well, after I go through the switch, because I want it to come on with the switch. I don't want it to stay reading while the switch is off. And hopefully we can do the fuel. If not, we're going to have to get a new sender for it. The only problem with the senders that I've found, there's no way for it to suck up gas. It's just a fuel gauge. That's it. So this one has the fuel gauge and the plunger, or the float, or the pickup. I haven't found one that's got a pickup tube if I can ever get it out. But this is what they're going to look like side by side. And I think that'll look good. It will show up 7 different colors, so I can change these colors to whatever I want. If I feel like the left side wants green and the right side needs red because the right side's feeling all evil and stuff, then we could do that. So, so the next thing I need to do is get this dash out. And I'm going to tell you, that's no picnic. I've already taken the screws out of the cover, but I can't get my steering wheel off. I beat on this thing so hard, I was surprised it didn't break because this is plastic. And I beat on it, and there's no place to put a puller. So I'm just going to have to work around it. I wanted to take this clear off so that I can get this formed the way I want it. And that way I can cut it out. But I'm going to have to do it in the vehicle, or I'm going to have to cut this off right here, cut this off so that this will lift up off of there. And then 3D print me another cover that screws to this one. It's an idea, but I'd like to get that off. So I've got the gauge out, and it just got 2 screws on the back side of it, or nuts, with that on the back of it. So what I need to do is I want to make a plate out of aluminum that matches this area right here that's got that groove around it, and make a plate that will mount to this. And then I got to cut this out about probably 1/2 inch from the outside edge. Cut all this out except for 1/2 inch of it, because you got to have some place to screw your new aluminum plate to. So then I'll just put some of them speed nuts on it, slide them on there if I can find any, and screw them on. I can either do countersinks, or I can go the rugged look and use cap head screws. But I don't know what I'm going to use for covering, if I'm going to polish it, jewel it, or camouflage it like I did this, which would probably be the best idea, because then this would match the dash. So that's probably what I'll end up doing, is putting this same camouflage that I put on here on that plate. So I want to make a plate so that I can mount these 2 in it, and then cut this out. So as soon as I figure out what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to just cut that off right there, cut that section out, and then 3D print that to mount to this. Or hell, I might just make one out of aluminum. All it is just a beauty cover, so you can't see up in there. So let me get this thing done to where we're ready to, I don't know what to do first. We'll probably have the plate made and this cut out when I come back. So you guys have seen me cut plastic before. You've seen me cut things out with the jigsaw. I'm just going to cut the pieces out, and this is going to be time consuming because I got to take real thin paper. I've already started my template. So in order to get these rounded edges, I'm going to have to do real thin paper, like printer paper, so I can put the pencil in that groove and follow that groove around, cut it out, and then set it on here and draw it out, and then I can cut this out exactly the same shape as this piece right here. I was hoping that was two different pieces, but it's not. So till then, this may be the next day, it may be next week, I don't know, but with the beauty of editing, you guys are going to be there right now. Well, guys, it's the next day, and this is probably going to be a really shitty freaking video, simply because I'm not organized like good video people are. But here's what I made. I just cut the part out, as you can see, all the way around it, about 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the aluminum. So it comes down. I needed a wide enough area so I could put screws in it. And what I did was put nut certs in it, and for 10/24 screws. And these here just screw on the back. It's in a 3.5 inch hole. And this has got GPS. So, but anyway, I've got the wiring out. We'll show you what this looks like. I was wondering if it was going to fit because of this bar right here. There's a bar right here that's on the top of the steering. So it just goes down in there like that, and then there's screws here, 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 and 2 down here. And we got to put that in before we put the dash in, because I'm not going through all that climbing underneath that dash. I had the devil of the time getting underneath that dash, clear up here in the top. So this is the original that came out. And it came with this bracket that goes on the back of it, and then it just holds it in there. Well, I got to looking at the directions, or the the wiring on this, and there's one that bothers me about removing this dash. Now, this dash does work. There's nothing wrong with it except it's aggravating for me. I'm not into all that button pushing stuff. So I want to see my RPMs. I don't want to have to hit a button to do that. But it does have good information on it for when you put it in forward drive or the differential lock, or you know, stuff like that. But there was one pin that bothered me. And that was, it said serial data output. Well, I got to looking up the definition of all that, and basically what it does is it sends a signal and receives a signal. It's in and out. And I think it has to do with the speed of the motor, or the timing or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a test port. I don't know. But I don't want to remove this just in case it causes me a problem. Because I don't want to do this job and then find out the motor won't run because one of my wires is not hooked up, and there's no place on these to hook that up to. So I think this one, I may not need that. I don't know. But I don't want to eliminate it, just in case. So what I did was I made a bracket, and I'm going to put that bracket right up here on top of the dash. Right there, I've already got my holes drilled, nut certs put in there for my bracket, and a hole for this cable to come up through. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have both this and the original. But the original is going to mount right here, just like that. Well, it looks like it's got shavings in it. How the hell would that happen? So I made this bracket right here that mounts on there, just like that. And it will mount right there, just like that. So once we get this mounted, I can take and bring that wire up through and plug it into this, right up through this hole. So that will mount right there. Now that will give me a double miles per hour, because I can read the miles per hour on this, and I can read the miles per hour on that one. The only thing, I can see tack on that one, but I can't see tack on here until I hit the button to change the mode. When you're driving, you don't want to be messing with no buttons to see your RPMs, to test something out or listen to something, I don't know, whatever. So we're going to mount this here, and we're going to run this plug up through that hole, and I've already tested it, it will reach. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to tie off of all these wires right here. These wires I'm not going to need, I don't need to. So the only one I need is ignition power. When the switch comes on, it gets power. The black for ground. And then I need yellow and violet, which is that one right there. Then I'm going to need the high beam, which is yellow and black, because that does have the high beam. So yellow and black. Then I'm going to need, I'm not going to worry about reverse, neutral, high, low, four-wheel drive, differential lock. Then the next two would be the temperature gauge and the fuel gauge. So that's these two. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wires, but I'm going to have to add one wire to one side of this plug, because this is the plug I plan to use for mine. This has got 6. I wish I had one that had 8, but it's sealed and it's got 6 wires. One of these will be hooked up for the backlights on this, the new gauges. The backlights, I'm going to have to hook them up to power when the switch comes on, so that the light comes on, which is what this one does anyway. And they're both, all of them are red lights. So the red lights in my gauges, the new gauges, and the red lights in this will match. So this way, I don't lose the options I have for this one, but I gain a better option on other things with the other one, and it looks better. So anyway, that's the plan. So basically what I'm going to do is put one side of this plug, which I think would be this one here, the male on the dash side, and this one on the harness side. So I gotta make these longer. I'm gonna substitute gray for brown. These don't match the colors in here. Some of them do, black and red does. Yellow is for memory, I think. I can't remember. Let's just look and see what it says. See, black, red. Oh, yellow is the backlight. So I'm going to hook the yellow and the reds together on one, so I can still use a 6-prong plug. Because, I mean, it's going to come on when the switch comes on. So the only thing I won't have is a dimmer, which I could probably put one in it, but I'm not worried about no dimmer. So basically I got to take these. These actually might be long enough that I can hook them all up. Yeah, I don't need to do anything with this plug. This one I can just attach it and it's done. I'm going to try to match up the colors best I can. Substitute. I don't have white, so probably have to use the gray, which will be brown on the other end, because I got to extend the wire. I don't think I have any gray wire, I'm pretty sure. So some of these plugs I don't need to use. So we'll hook these up. And basically what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut these wires. And then strip them back. Add a wire that's long enough to get down past this hole underneath and over here. So it'll probably be, I don't know, about yay long, about a foot more to it. So I'm going to add more to this. And we'll go ahead and mount the old speedometer. Now we ain't going to plug it up until, I'd like to try to get this out a little bit further so I can tie in back here further, because once I come up through that hole here on this side, let me show you what I mean. I'm going to tell you, it's just the devil of a dash to try to get up into. See, I need to tie into it, but right there's the only place to really do it. So I'm going to have to make it so that that wire will go up through there with it. So all the wires are going to have to come in that direction, going down, bent over in that direction, and then heat shrink put on it. So I don't know how far it's going to go up, but we'll see. Yeah, see, it's right here is where I need to tie. So these wires are going to show here. So we're going to probably, I hate this damn thing. There we go. So we're probably going to try to strip it back a little bit further. They don't give you a whole lot, so I got to strip some more of this rubber off on this and cut it back some more so I can get further back here, because I really don't want these wires to show up there. So yeah, 6 of them. All right, so let's go ahead and mount this speedometer up here. And what I did, I left, where my screwdriver go? I put holes in this padding because I want to keep this padding on here. And that will act as a cushion between the two, and a bushing, because the nutsert sticks up above the plastic and it hits the aluminum before the aluminum hits the pad or the dash. So I decided to use this as a gasket. And there we have our panel. And I think that'll work. And then I get to keep my gauges, because this one I'd rather have mechanical gauges. Wire don't want to stay in there. So what do you think, guys? I'd rather do away with it, but it's got options that I'd like to keep that I'm not going to get with these. Because this one here, the only thing it does is fuel, volts, temperature, oil. I don't believe I'm going to be able to use oil, but this thing's got a low warning light in the middle for each one of them. Let's say it drops below 11 volts. This light will come on. If the fuel is below 13%, that light comes on. The oil light flashes. So I don't know how I'm going to combat that if I ain't got no place to hook an oil gauge to. And then you got your temperature gauge, and if it gets below 80 some degrees or I don't know what it is, or above or whatever, it'll flash. This has got the tack, and I'm not real sure what that digital screen is in there. There's a digital screen in one of these right there, a little tiny screen. And it has something to do with the GPS. So it's got an antenna that goes on it that goes up to the top here at the windshield, and that's how it uses a speedometer. So I'm kind of interested to see if the speedometer on this and the tack on that will match the speedometer on that one. We'll find out. At least I'm not losing any options, so if this works out okay, I've got both. It's just that one wire that bothers me. Now, I'm not going to make this too much longer. I'm just kind of giving you guys the idea of what I'm doing. And we'll call this part 1. And yes, my shop is a mess right now. So I'm lucky I had one of these left. And if I have to hook up anything else to it, which I doubt I will, because the only thing this gauge here has is speedometer, tack, left turn, right turn, and high beam. The other one is just gauges. So that's the only options I have for that gauge set. But it looks better. That's all that matters, right? So we'll get that hooked up, and when that's done, we'll start that in the next video showing you what I've done. Because you know I'm going to do some work, and then when I'm ready to show you guys what I've done, you guys can take it from there. Anyway, hope you guys learned something out of this. I went and wrote down every wire that mine is. And then this is what I printed off. Now, trust me, I couldn't get it no bigger. I tried to get that to print bigger, and it would not. So I just stuck it on here. It got printed on one of my shipping label papers. So I just stuck it on here so I'd have both of them there. But it's at least big enough. Thank God I can use the magnifying glass and see them. And they do match. So the wiring harness that I got for this Thank you very much. I can't remember your name. I'll put your name down here, first name. On Facebook gave me the link to the wiring harness. So, but that way I don't lose a whole lot. I'll still get my four-wheel drive light, or same thing that says I'm in four-wheel drive. I'll still get that. I'll still have the differential lock indicator. I'll have a correct fuel gauge, just in case this one's not correct, depending on the ohms on that tank. So this one's got two different settings, 0 to 190, or 0 to 190, and then 240 to 33. So I don't understand the directions on it, but I'll read it in the next video. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Later.